Hi everyone, how you going? So, Indue's stuffing people's rents up again. So Thursday we saw Jodie couldn't pay her rent. It took all day of stuffing around, going into the office, uploading documents, ringing Centrelink, waiting for them to contact Indue, get told to go back to Centrelink, and ping pong until 10 to 5 in the evening. Only for it to eventually go through at some ungodly hour, or but it won't clear until Tuesday, maybe, right? And then she finds out afterwards that her direct debits haven't gone out for her bills. Thank you, Indue. So over the course of the weekend, other people's direct debits haven't gone out for their bills? Of course not. Indue doesn't work in real time. It's a bank. Well, it's not really a bank. But it doesn't work in real time, so it's closed over Easter. So direct debits haven't been paid, which means people will get late fees. Right, and now, just in the space of an hour, on the Hinkler page, I see people's rents again being completely stuffed around. Do you know what I mean? This is just getting beyond a joke. You know, so much for the financial literacy tool, the one that's designed to put you into debt, the one that is designed to generate as many breach notices as possible against your rental history, because that seems to be all it's good for. Do you know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Hang on. Pixie! No. Sorry. You know, so, it's real. I'm really getting frustrated with it, because it's one of the biggest things in the, you know, the nearly oh my God, it's over a year since the card came up here, you know what I mean? And, I mean, in the beginning, there was one real estate that was complaining that 200 landlords were on his case because their rents weren't getting paid on time. You know, I have spoken to numerous people over the last 12 months that have been kicked out of places because the rent fell behind, thanks to Indue being 2 days late, 3 days late, 4 days late, stopping it altogether for no good reason, right? I mean, Jodie has had to put in the same paperwork 4 times in 6 months, right? She's getting really jack of having to beg permission to pay her rent, you know? But no. So another lady just posted on the Hinkler page a few minutes ago, and she's put up a screenshot. Basically, that's what Jodie got as well, the same screenshot. That's where they cancel your housing limit, you know what I mean? But they don't tell you you're going to do this, do you know what I mean? This, you know, this person, or another person who's commented, this card's going to fuck up our bills, my rent is taken before I get my pay, and that gives great rating for rent on my time. You know, this is just getting ridiculous. I don't know what to say. We keep begging to senators out there, wake up, listen. We have enough homelessness. We have enough problems as it is. We're in the middle of this COVID-19 epidemic. People don't need to be getting breach notices, right? Because I noticed one yesterday, 2 hours ago. Tamara put, does anyone know if Indue's open today? Well, they're not, right? Or when they open again. Well, they'll probably be open tomorrow. But the thing is, 3 days of trying to pay her rent for it to fail. I mean, honestly, if I have the money in my bank and I want to transfer it to somebody, I can do it like that, right? And it's done. It might not show up in that person's account, but it's done. You know what I mean? But Indue's not even doing it. You know, this person, Tamara Bell, almost every week I have a problem with this. Every week. They have my lease agreement and they know how much I pay, and the amount hasn't changed, all right, since the 4 years of living at that particular address. You know what I mean? Yet they haven't paid the rent. She can't pay her rent. All right. It's just, so we've got 2 in 2 hours that can't pay their rent. You know, this one here. Thanks for letting me know my year of housing payment was up. I really appreciated not being able to pay my rent, because I should have read your mind, Indue, and knew that your housing limit was only for 360 days a year, not the term of your lease. I love being in trouble with my real estate because you didn't send me any type of notice that this would happen. Where is the reminder message to update? Nothing. I'm sorry, but this has to be the most ridiculous card. Even your power bill reminds you to keep up to date. I wasn't told it automatically stopped on the date I activated my card. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm not the only one annoyed at this. You know what I mean? No, she's not the only one annoyed at this, because hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have been through it, go through it every fortnight, every week. Some people have to produce their lease and their documents every 5 weeks. Some, like Jody, have done it 4 times in 6 months. Some do it every quarter, right? It's just absolutely ridiculous. What are they doing with the documents? You upload all the documents, you give them the paperwork, you sign all the paperwork. What are they doing with it? Shredding it? You know, it should be there. If you're on a 12-month lease and you show them your 12-month lease, that's it. Bingo. You know what I mean? But they don't do that, you know. And if you don't have a lease, but you've got a rent certificate, that should be enough. Do you know what I mean? But no, just cut people off, you know. I am just thoroughly peed off with it. Do you know what I mean? And I shared one of these posts to the national page, and I dropped an F-bomb in the writing of it, because it's just really, I'm over it. I'm sure these people are over it. The people that have been made homeless in the past are definitely over it. You know what I mean? The problems this card has caused to people over being able to pay rent, right? I watched a family go through hell, be verbally abused, threats of physical violence, right? Being evicted from a property because Indue wouldn't let them pay the damn rent. Wouldn't transfer the money to her account to pay her landlord, and he didn't want to do things the Indue way. He wanted to do things his way, right? Which every landlord's allowed to do things their way, you know, as long as it's within the parameters of the law. This has to stop. This is not the time to be sending out breach notices to people, you know, because we've got the 2 comments there, but then I've got here, it seems to be a common problem. They give you the runaround. My daughter always paid her rent and bills on time. Now she goes through this crap every time. So she screenshots the account balance, screenshots the rejection from Indue, then emails both to her real estate every week, right? Indue don't think this is a reason enough to be exited off the card. She now has a breach notice. I'm livid. That's a parent talking about what's going on with their daughter. Do you know what I mean? And I'd be livid too. I'd be absolutely furious as well, because most of these people that they've stuffed up their rental histories and their credit ratings, they've never had any problems beforehand. Never had a problem. I had a conversation with somebody at a supermarket yesterday briefly, and he was going, oh, it's only for those people. I said, no, it's not. It's not for those people, as you put it. Oh, but it's only for those people on, and I just cut him straight off, and I said, no, it's blanket. When it goes into an area, it's blanket. And he's sitting there in a wheelchair, obviously either on a disability support pension or old age pension. And I said to him, go to Seduna, Kununurra, the Goldfields, and it's everybody up to old age pension age on disability or carers. Oh, I didn't realise. Yeah, you know what I mean? The thing is, this is what people are having to live with. Life is stressful enough. I know. I'm facing having to move myself in the middle of all this pandemic stuff. Do you know what I mean? But at least I can pay my rent whichever way I prefer, right? I'm fortunate I can use Centrepay, and I can pay it. And not only can I pay it, I can actually pay more onto it and get it in advance. You can't do that with Indue either. You can't say, can I put an extra $20 a week on my rental payment? No. And if you do, by any chance, manually bump your rent up in advance, and you turn around and say to Indue, can you pause that payment because I want to pay another bill with the, you know, because I don't have to pay rent because I'm in advance 6 weeks or whatever, they'll find a way to fuck up both bills. Because I've watched them do it with a lady who wanted to make a car payment, which Indue doesn't normally pay. So she wanted to use her money from her rent to pay her car payment to catch that up, but she'd already caught up her rent. Do you know what I mean? And her rent was like 6 weeks in advance. And Indue found a way to pay double to the car payment and totally destroy her rental credit, you know. Oh, Kerry says, what do you think Indue's agendas for doing it are? I don't think Indue control it in Brisbane. I think it's because of this 28-day turnaround with the money that causes a lot of trouble, which shows that the money's coming from offshore. It's coming from outside the banking sector. So it's being 80% is being shipped off to what we believe is the Bank of America. And that money's held there, and your account is technically run by that. Indue are the middleman, I think. That's my opinion. I think Indue are just the front, the Australian front. Everything works on 28-day cycles for IBAN transfers, but they're treating it like a prepaid gift card as well. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the technology to cope with being able to pay somebody's rent. Centrepay does. So Centrepay is government run. It's done by the Centrelink. It's free for the person paying their rent. It's also done before their payment goes into their bank, so therefore they don't have any problems with it. I've used it for 20 years. I've never had a problem. When I had a problem with an electricity company trying to say I didn't pay money, I was able to ring Centrelink and say, hey, can I have a printout of my payments, please? And bingo, within a couple of days, I had a printout of every payment I'd made to Centrepay for that electricity account, and it proved I'd paid the money, and that shut the electricity company up, and I got my money back. All right? And only once have I ever seen my Centrepay account actually have a hiccup, and they fixed it. Like, you could see where they fixed it on the same day, where they took out X amount, and then they thought, oh, we're short that bit, and then they took out a little bit more, right? I've only ever seen that once in 20 years of using Centrepay. But not every landlord uses Centrepay, and every share house doesn't use Centrepay. You know what I mean? Most people who are renting a room don't use Centrepay because it's just easier to get someone in, share the bills, pay the rent. The lead tenant pays the rent, you know. But it's making life very difficult for people. And I don't know what their agenda is. You know, we've got the Squawk Box Michaela Cash saying it's a financial literacy tool. Same with Anne Ruston. Yeah, straight into the financial bin with you because, you know, with Indue controlling the rents, I don't think they can do the job. They're controlling, you know, I don't know how many rents they would be in control of because the system was designed, it assumed that everybody was living in public housing. That's how it was set up, right? Because if everybody was living in social housing, that's why there was a housing limit set to 0, I believe. Do you know what I mean? Because why would you have private rent? If you're on welfare and you're in public or social housing, remember the idea comes from overseas as well, where they are in social housing a lot. So the assumption that everybody's in public housing for a start and uses Centrepay pay rent, that means there's no need for a rent payment, is there, on it? But real life doesn't work that way. They've sold off our public housing, right? There's nothing left of it. There's not even, I don't think, even 10% of it left of what there was. Do you know what I mean? We had 300,000 people on waiting lists around the country for public housing. The system, it's just not designed for our system. Simple as that. It doesn't fit with the way we pay our bills. The banks, you know, there's talk of the banks taking it over and your own personal bank will be controlling you. I want to see how that's going to work because they've got an awful lot of bank laws to get around to be able to pull that off. They're only getting away with this because Indue's outside the banking sector per se, and ACCC or whatever, ASIC are sort of like turning a blind eye to the consumer issues. Do you know what I mean? All I can say to people on the Cashless debit card is if you're having problems with your rent still, come out and make it known. Make it known, because this is just ridiculous. You know, I know there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I don't know how many people they made homeless. I come across 3 or 4 in the Hinkler region that I know of, but see, the majority of people don't even know we exist here on social media. You know, a lot of them don't know. A lot of them are just battling along. Do you know what I mean? We don't reach all of the 12,150 people on the card. It would be good if we could. The majority of those people are outback, you know, and yeah, it's difficult. But I want people to start jumping up and down about this rent situation. Don't think there's an eviction amnesty, because I can tell you now, I've seen plenty of people that are not on the card, right, that have just lost jobs, that are being pushed out of homes as we speak right now, because they haven't set down any laws to protect anybody in place with this coronavirus, COVID-19 stuff. Nothing's set in concrete. So people are still going to end up homeless. It's just frustrating. Hang on, I'm just reading a comment here. So Donna's saying, word has it someone I know at Centrelink Indue told me a government to hold off putting on a new lot of Centrelink recipients as their system could not cope with the numbers. They do not have the staff available, and also due to us being in lockdown. So, yeah, you're right there. They came out and made an announcement about that, Donna, that all the newbies coming onto Social Security won't be being put on the cards, even though they were going to be put on the card. But yes, because they didn't have the staff at the income management or welfare quarantining branch to be able to process them all quick enough. At first they would go, yes, they'll be going on the card, and then they realised how many there were. Then they decided, no, they're not going on the card. But it's only paused. It's only temporary. This is not a thing. I mean, those that are still out of work in 6 months' time, when the payment rates go back to normal and everybody's expected to go back to work type thing, those that are left without jobs in the regions will probably find themselves getting letters being told they're going on a cashless debit card, whether they like it or not. So it's only a temporary pause. It's not stopping the card. This needs to be stopped. I mean, at the moment, we've got a problem with tap and go. Most people want tap and go. They want contactless because of this. Cash is still accepted. The Australian Mint have come out and said cash is fine. The World Health Organization has said cash is fine. Because you can't take cash away from poor people, because then you'll have millions starving across the globe. Do you know what I mean? You can't stop the use of cash, but the Indue Cashless debit card doesn't allow for tap and go. Doesn't allow for a lot of things. So another thing too, eBay's introduced Afterpay. So you can use Afterpay on eBay to buy goods, but you can't use eBay normally through PayPal to buy goods, right? I have run across this before where people have been told by Indue staff, oh, just go and buy what you want on Afterpay and then pay the bill with Afterpay. Why are they pushing people to Afterpay? Why make it, because that'll be the thing now, is, oh, you can use eBay if you use Afterpay. Why do people need to sign up for third-party credit arrangements to be able to do something that other people can just do normally? Do you know what I mean? Without having to sign up to Afterpay in order to be able to get things. Do you know what I mean? Cheaper clothes, second-hand car parts, this, that, and all the other. Right? Yeah, I'm getting sick of the push towards Afterpay. What link? It makes you feel as though, what link is there? Why do Indue staff recommend Afterpay and not ZipPay? You know what I mean? Why do they push people into that sort of thinking of, oh, well, I'll just take out credit to buy what I can't buy normally, whereas normally with their own control of their finances, they could have normally just done it without taking out credit to do it. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And people go, oh, but it's interest free if you pay the 4 payments, but you shouldn't be forced to take out credit to buy things, to get your freedom back. Oh, we'll give you your freedom back as long as you sign up for credit. Why? Why does everybody have to be in debt? Why do we have to have all these credits? Why can't people use their own money freely and save their own money freely and use it the way that they need to? What part of drugs, alcohol and gambling, right, is buying car parts, kids' clothes or whatever off of eBay? Who knows? Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I'm just sick to death of the rent. But people have got to keep posting what the problems are. This needs to stop. People need to be able to get their lives back, right? Cards just not. It's just an absolute failure, and it's failing too many people. And there's, it's got to stop. All right, the freedom to be able to pay your rent, just pay your damn rent, just to be able to pay your rent, should not be a bloody nightmare that's going to cost you your credit rating and bug you up for life. Simple as that. Because all these black marks on your credit rating do bug you up for life. Right? Could stop you from buying a house down the track. It could stop you from buying a car when you need one. Because your credit rating's shot. That's cruel. That's called keeping the boot on the neck of the disadvantaged, the most vulnerable, the poorest people, the lowest paid workers in this country, and making sure you can't get on top of anything. Alright? Simple as that. Putting the poor people and the low paid workers in their place. And that includes our frontline supermarket workers and stuff like that at the moment, because there's many of those on the cashless debit card. There's many retail workers out there. There's even frontline nursing staff and carers out there on the card. Do you know what I mean? But they only work casually, so they're stuck on the card. Anyway, I'll catch you later. See ya.